Really? You think? Oh, good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, East Hawaii. I'm Reverend Beverley Strutt. I'm speaking today. I woke up this morning and went, oh my goodness. No, that's not the truth. You know I spend all week doing this, some form of another. But before we move any forward, what I want to hear is, you are magnificent. Yeah? Everybody on board with that? Can I hear the I? I am magnificent. Yes. You must know that when I hear that, I'm going to bump into this microphone. Sorry, that's fine. It's all good. When I hear those words coming from you, it just goes, and it pumps me up inside. It is just absolutely wonderful. So welcome to our newcomers. Hi, young one over there. We love hearing the voices of the young. Yes, it's delightful, that little chitter-chatter. It's like, yes, I love that energy. I promise I won't come and lick your face. But I love licking faces, but I promise I won't. I learned during COVID I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. So, anyway. Oh my goodness, there's so much going on in the world today that I don't even know where to begin with everything. But we are in this time of this month of where, am I doing good? I'm not popping too badly? Okay, great. New microphone, woohoo! So I love it. It feels good, feels solid, secure. And so we are playing with paradox this month. And then, of course, today we are, the topic is the tyranny or the tyranny, if you're English, of the all. Wow, Barbara, thank you so much for setting me up, because you just gave me a whole lot of stuff that was just wonderful. So I really love that, because there is a power in the fact that we have to choose. Yes, we get to choose all the time. That's the most amazing thing that was given us as this creature, this expression of the divine, is that we get to choose. In fact, Dr. Ernest Holmes says that we choose every single minute of every day, and when we're not choosing, we are choosing not to choose, which means we're choosing anyway. Do you want me to say that again? Because that is the truth. Even if you're going, I am not going to choose today, you are choosing not to choose, which means the one thing that we are grounded in every minute of the day is choice. And it's fantastic, except. Right. It's fantastic, except. But you know what? Before we get into the depth of this, I have to tell you, I had this little funny thing that came past my desk. And so I'm going to share it with you. But you're going to have to listen, because it's going to go fast. A Zen master told me, do the opposite of what I tell you. So I didn't. Isn't that cute? So I just didn't. You want to hear that again? A Zen master told me, do the opposite of what I tell you. So I didn't. I love it. It's that conundrum. It's that little thing that goes on in there. But anyway, one of the wonderful things, getting back to choice, is that we do get to choose. We get to choose every minute of everything that we do. And the tyranny of the or is that we have to choose. There is a power behind that word that can... that is kind of like we've been made to choose. Do you want to be on this team or that team? You know, do you want to stay in or go out? You've got to make a choice all of the time. Every minute you're making a choice. And you know what? I don't want to make that choice. I don't want to be on that team or this team. Maybe I want to be on 3 people on this team and 2 on that team. I have to pick a team. And then you've got to stick with that choice. It's like, but no, there's a buffet behind me. If anybody knows about my buffet, you know I always speak about the buffet. You get to choose again. You never have to stick with what you chose. Okay, I'll get into that later. All right. So what I love here, Ken Wilber said this. Have you ever wondered why life comes in opposites? Ups versus downs, inside versus outside, high versus low, long versus short, big versus small, good versus evil, life versus death, pleasure versus pain, God versus Satan, Freedom versus bondage. This is life. But nature, it seems, knows nothing of this world of opposites in which people live. Thoreau said nature never apologizes, and apparently it's because nature doesn't know the opposite of right and wrong, and thus doesn't recognize what humans imagine to be errors. Oh. So we do know in nature, in the day, the lights, and then the dark, and the day, the light, and the dark. But in actuality, what he's speaking about is that the all comes with judgment. There's so much judgment involved, and we're terrified of making that mistake, the fear of the outcome. You know what? Have you ever thought to yourself, if only I'd made a different choice, I wonder what life would have been like. I wonder where I've been. Or if I hadn't made this choice, I wouldn't be in this situation now. You don't know. We don't know. Because, you know, every choice we make is the right choice. Every choice we make is going to be the right choice. But because we're presented with this option of every minute, this or that, this or that, constantly being with that this or that, and being told so often that once you choose it, you gotta stick with it. Well, I don't know. I'm not particularly up for that. But the or, so that or has this control. It's been in our lives either or, all the time. We never get to just go, well, I want everything. No, you got to pick either or. So we look at this and we go wonder why, do we really have to go that way? Or is there another option? So we do have another option. We call it the third way. The third way is that wonderful place where you let God decide. You tell God, you can talk about the stuff that you like, about this side and that side, and then you let go to the idea of something completely new presenting itself, because remember, when we make the decisions of the or, we know what they both are. But the third way, we have no clue what the third way could even be. The third way might not have even dropped in as an idea yet. It could still be floating around there on a wave. It hasn't even dropped to a particle. Thank you, Stephen, for knowing what I'm talking about. No, everybody understands that concept. But herein lies this idea of having a third way. A third way is approaching the or decisions and allowing something completely new to come up. Completely in that realm of potentiality that you have never even dreamt about before. Doesn't that sound exciting? It sounds exciting because if we trust in the divine, we trust that the universe is for us ultimately, we trust that when we speak about our desires, that the universe is listening, when we set our intentions, our affirmations, our prayers, that we can actually open ourselves up and go, I'm just going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see because I know something fantastic is coming. Why shouldn't it? Why shouldn't it be fantastic? Why shouldn't it be brand new? Why shouldn't the person bring in the greatest changes in the world might not have been born yet? So if you think about the third way is something that can reveal itself to you based on your desires, intentions, and for the greater knowing for the whole world. Dr. Ernest Holmes speaks very often about staying open at the top. Staying open at the top. Why do we want to stay open at the top? Because the person that could be of the greatest help to us may not have been born yet. So if we close our minds and go, we're only going to do it this way, and we're only going to do it that way, it's either this or that. Where is the third way? Where is that opening for the magnificent expression of the divine to show up and go, hey, look at me. Do you want to try this way instead? So the tyranny of the or has been put in us from generations and just life and traditions, where it's either this or that, whether we're picking our religion, whether we're picking our political affiliation, whether we're picking our dinner. You know, there is an awe involved, and it does want to control, and it does have power of judgment, and it does have power and fear of the outcome. What if we make the wrong choice? What if we make the wrong choice? Did you hear about the buffet? Right? Have any of you ever been to a buffet and walked up to it and gone, oh, that looks good. Oh, I'm going to get a little bit of that. Oh, I'm going to get some of this. And you take it all, and you go back to your table, you sit down, and you go, ugh, this was not what I wanted. But you picked it, you better eat it. No, I'm not going to. I'm not even going to take my plate back. I'm just going to push it to the side of the table. Somebody's going to come by and pick it up. You know that, right? And what am I going to do? I'm going to walk back up to the buffet table and choose again. Because that's the privilege of choice. That's the privilege. The divine is not saying, well, you picked this, you better stick with it all the way. It's going, what would you like? I'll give you whatever it is you desire. And if you don't like it, pick again. I've got limitless. I'm limitless. I've got everything you could possibly need. Anything you desire, just put your intention, your desires there. Here it is for you. But no. You're going to sit through that meal and you're going to eat all that stuff that doesn't taste good because I picked it. I've got to stick with it. You know, I mean, we even have it in Greater. You know, we have it in Greater where we pick jobs. I know the perfect job for me is going to be this. This is my perfect job. And then you get it. Well, of course you get it because you've been visioning and praying and intention setting and affirmations. And the universe is going, here is your job. Relationship. House, all of these things. You can just substitute whatever you want to put in there, right? Telephones, you know, doesn't matter, right? It's all part of the deal. And now you've got it. You better stick with it. Because you know what? God gave it to you. And who am I to know something different for myself? What? Do you know where we are? We're in Centers for Spiritual Living. We teach science of mind. We teach that you get to choose again and again and again. Because sometimes when we're making our choice, we know what we want, but we really don't know what the outcome is going to be. And if you're going to fear it, because you're going to have to live it for the rest of your life, you're never going to take that first step. So jump in, because guess what? If it doesn't work, you have to choose again. I remember when I left South Africa, I had a one-way ticket to Monte Carlo. No, I didn't have a one-way ticket. I had a return ticket to Monte Carlo, just in case I didn't like where I was going. Didn't like where I was going. No, the reason I had a return ticket is because it cost the same as a one-way. But here's the thing. I always know that if I'm in a place where I am not happy, at that point, I thought to myself, I could go back. But in actuality, what it was, in the terms of science of mind, is I would get to choose again. Do you think I was unhappy? No. I had the most brilliant time. But yeah, that's the story we tell around the campfire. We don't tell it in church. We can, but we shouldn't. Anyway, the third way, we should never allow ourselves to be bullied by an either-or. There is often the possibility of something better than either of these two alternatives. That's from Mary Parker Follett. So now we know what we can do for ourselves. We know that we get to choose. We don't have to stay under that powerful domination of the or and the choice. But how does this look in our world? Because it's really important. Barbara brought up the idea of who do I vote for? What policies do I like? What things do I want to believe that are going on in the world? What programs do I want to participate in? And the beautiful young minister who is part of our next gen group, the social movement for sound of mind, she actually wrote the outlines for this week. And I'm going to share with you her words because I read them over and over again, how I could possibly incorporate them in my own way. And I'm like, why? She wrote it beautifully, so I'm going to share them with you. This is how this looks in the world. She says, in the world today, we see the tyranny of the or in almost every aspect of our life. For generations, we have chosen between seeming paradoxes, only to stand now on the precipice of everything falling apart. The systems and ways of thinking that we have utilized up until now are no longer sustainable. We no longer get to choose between economic growth or taking care of people, technological advances or preserving the environment, being conservative or liberal, tearing our societal systems down or holding them up no matter what. Good for the many or good for the few, taking care of ourselves or taking care of others, personal safety or collective freedom. The list goes on and on. Instead, we must focus on finding new solutions, setting aside our differences, and working together and working towards a third way. Anybody? Anybody? Yes, absolutely. Brilliantly said, brilliantly written, because there is where we lie in the world today. We've been living in the either or of stuff that we already know. Is it going to be sustainable moving forward? We've seen in the past where the third way has been the solution to stuff that we've had to deal with. So we will be called to lay down a lot of the this or that and find a new way of being in this world. We are walking into a new paradigm shift. We're in the action of a new paradigm shift. I've spoken to you this before about the paradigm of holism, which is when we spoke about the Maui fires, where I said that holism is a paradigm that we've all been working towards. It brings forward so much of what we desire in this world. But in order for that to happen, there's going to be a breakdown in some places. It's not just going to be a smooth, all right, let's just use oil paint so we can just paint it over the top. No, it's going to be a lot like ceramic. We're going to have to break it and redo it. And hopefully we will do it with the edges of gold in it and make it even better than we can even imagine. So she goes on to say this about the third way. Already in the world, we are beginning to see what is possible when we step out of our rigid ways of thinking and stand with vulnerability and curiosity in the third way. Technological advances are actually being used to save the environment. Politicians are crossing the aisle to pass necessary bipartisan legislation. Countries that take care of their people first are flourishing, and systems that need to crumble are left to crumble naturally, while society focuses on building up the systems that need to continue to stand. Pretty much there's not a whole lot I can say. Other than that, it's kind of, she said it all, and she said it beautifully. Because we are a spiritual community, but we're not Pollyanna. We're not going all is well when we can see the stuff out there is not great. But we also know that there are ways that we can work in this world that don't require us to bust everything open, that we can shift things from the inside and do things from the outside. We can treat and move our feet. This is something we get to do. And when we let go of the outcome and open ourselves up to the third way, we might be able to see a myriad of things that we never, ever imagined were possible in this world. God comes to us unlimited, with limitless ideas. The goodness of God pours forth on us through magnificent ideas. What we need to do, really, is to get rid of the judgment of it's either this or that, and think that that is all that there is, because that is not the truth. That is absolutely not the truth. If I was to tell you 6 years ago that I had this choice or this choice, and this is where I'm standing right now, this was never even a thought, right? And for some of you might be going, I wish it still wasn't. But anyway, it is. And we are having fun. So this idea of staying open at the top to what can come our way. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, spiritual healing is not willing, wishing, beseeching, or repeating a lot of formulas. It is the result of the dawning perception of spirit. When the illusion of opposites disappears from our mental perception and we come to realize that we are whole, we shall be made whole. When we let go of the opposites, we will come and be made whole. That's not just us. That's not just us. That's the perception of everything that we have, and it is the perception that will walk out our reality in the world. Now, I'm not talking about opposites as being not complementary. Don't go down that road. That's a completely different scenario. We're talking about the or, the either or, the only one way. That's not complementary. That is making a choice and sticking with just one side of it. Ram Dass says, the less attached you are to your own desires, the more you can hear what other human beings need, and the less you project your own needs. Your response is more compassionate and appropriate to the need at hand. That doesn't mean to say you don't have desires. The paradoxical question is, how can we fully engage in life, yet not be attached? Translating the inner work on ourselves into actions is a subtle art. So how can we be fully engaged in life and not attached? So when that third way comes this direction, and you are going, but, that's not the one I want. Can you sit back and go, I don't have to choose either or. Can I wait and see where this develops? Can I be open at the top? Can I stay open at the top for whatever presents itself? Because we know we have a divine spiritual guidance that is going to be working in, through, and as us when we walk this whole path. Yes, that is the truth. That is what we got. So in Centers for Spiritual Living, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. Woo! The one that comes just before that is awakening humanity to spiritual magnificence. So we go from that idea to the idea of how we have to engage. And being engaged is not just standing in judgment. Being engaged is staying open at the top. Being willing and open to hear, see, and have the best, least judgment so that we can see where something can grow. So yes, Science of Mind does invite us to stay open at the top so that we can entertain and implement new ideas and new choices, both in our own lives, but very, very importantly in the world. We are in this world. We are of this world. And even though we are having a human experience with the spiritual body, you can look at it wherever way you want. This thing is solid. Those trees out there are solid. We want to save and be part of the growth of this magnificent earth, this environment of our own lives and our community lives. So we have to entertain and implement new ideas and new choices. We can use this teaching that we have to step away from the tyranny of the or that our world has lived in for so long and enter the new third way of finding possibilities that exist in the paradox. Remember the pair of docks that we had from Stephen? Do you remember that beautiful space in between? There was sand, there was ocean, limitlessness in between. We can go between and find new and magnificent ideas. So the invitation is to make a new choice. this week, choose a third, a fourth, or even a fifth way. See the possibility out there for something that you've had judgment on being just this way or just that way. Let's see what's working and grow with it, and let's what's not transform with a new idea. A new idea that leads to a new choice. Isn't that a wonderful invitation? Isn't that something we can do? And we can do it simply. I don't need you all flying off to anywhere in the world to save everything, because in consciousness, we begin here. We begin with ourselves, our internal change. And as we change internally, the vibration will go out, change the energy around you, change the world. And change is necessary. It's scary sometimes, but if we're not attached to the outcome or the fear of the outcome, it is brilliant. It is exciting. We can get involved. We can get engaged. And you know, we don't even have to leave our couch to do that. We can just get into prayer, get into meditation, get into contemplation, and stay open at the top. So in closing, I have a little piece for you, because we have to realize too that what is no longer being used will fade away to make room for the new. So this is what my favorite Mark Nepo reads, says, "The pollen collects until the rain washes away whatever has not been taken as seed. The moss forms on stumps and rocks until the feet of animals wear it off. The leaves that cover the path disintegrate in time to show they lost their way." No. The leaves that cover the path disintegrate in time to show the lost their way. It is the same with us. Our dreams collect like pollen until the sweat and tears of our living then washes away whatever has not become possible. Our soft, gnarly clumps of attachment grow out of our stone, joy and sorrow alike, until what is food is eaten and what is not is worn away. Thank you. All right. Oof. Thank you. Let's take this to prayer. And as we go into prayer, I want to give tremendous gratitude for Reverend Chris Ashley for the work that she did on this talk today, that she brought forward for us in all of CSL to enjoy and to share with our communities. So we bless her. So as we breathe into this moment, we recognize the one power, the one source, the one universal creative mind that is in, through, and as absolutely everything. There is no beginning, no end. It is just the all that there is. And I know that I am one with it. I know that each and every one of us here is one with it. Everybody in the sound of my voice and beyond, for we are all one with this. We are of it. We're in it. We've created in it. It is all that we are. It has its way working in us, through us, and as us in all that we think, do, see, do, feel, experience. And I know for us is as we walk our paths, we walk it with an awareness of the third way. We walk it with not having to judge the either or. We walk it knowing that there is more to be known when we sit back and just open ourselves up to a new idea and a new choice. It is magnificent to realize and to accept that this is the gift of who we are. So I know for each one of us as we walk our path this week that it'll unfold with awe as we realize in each moment how this is the truth for us. And that we can walk it with an elevated consciousness. We can walk it with a new, fresh excitement, for we have this wonderment that is coming forth from the divine that we get to share in and with this world. So I know that it is good. So with tremendous gratitude, I just know that everything is unfolding in perfect right timing. That Spirit has already said, yes, yes, my beloveds, yes. It is already done. So I release this prayer knowing that it is so. And please claim it with me as we say together. And so it is. Thank you.